Welcome to the financial feasibility study where we will be comparing three options with regards to an apartment. We have three options. The first option being renting it as an unfurnished apartment, second option renting it as an Airbnb, and option number three selling the apartment and investing the money elsewhere. So let's jump into option number one. So when we rent our apartment, we have to determine this operational income. And so we quite simply do that by taking the monthly rental income that is over here and multiplying that by 12. And so you can see this rate was actually just adjusted for inflation, which we assumed would be about 6% per year. And so we just adjust that every year for inflation, and then we determine our operational income. To determine our operational expenses, we come over here to this table, and we can actually determine this by looking at the management fee that we pay to our rental agent, which is about 12% that we have over here. And then when we have to pay maintenance, we estimated maintenance to be about 10,000 Rand in the first year, and then just made adjustments for inflation each year. Levies and taxes were actually forecasted using a normal forecasting tool in Excel, and then those values were determined to be the ones that you see in this table, and they are the same for both option 1 and option 2. Then we Now from this point, we can go and determine her after-tax cash flow, which is right over there. And then when she sells the house, right at the end, we get a final cash flow that looks something like this. And when we go and determine, now we will jump into option 2. To determine our operational income in this column over here, we go over here and we see that our nightly rate is about 700 Rand per night, and our occupancy rate is about 40%, which means we have people staying in the house for 146 days of the year. And so this is quite simple. We just multiply this by this to get our operational income. and this is also then just adjusted for inflation each year. To determine our operational expenses, we see that our service fee is just 3% of our operational income, and the cleaning fees are actually just 50 Rand per night that someone stays there, and then we can multiply that also just by the 146 days and get our cleaning and maintenance fees. Levies and taxes are I would also just like to point out the fact that this model is very sensitive to the occupant's rate. And so when we change this rate from something like 40% to, let's say, 60%, our model significantly changes. And we can see that our cash flows are now even positive, and our present values are significantly larger than the first option. Okay, and let's jump into option 3. So we start our analysis by looking at how much money we can actually invest in our unit trust fund. And so we start by selling the house or the apartment for 920,000 Rand. We have agent fees that we have to cover. We have some fixing costs that we have to cover, and then a whole bunch of other costs, including once we have determined how much money we can actually invest and how much money we can earn in the 5-year investment, we have to look at how much money we earned on interest, because we have to pay tax on that if it's more than 23,000. And so that is those values over there. Now, next, because we sold an asset and we made a profit on it, we have to pay capital gains tax. And so the capital gains tax is calculated in this table for the selling of the. And so from this after tax cash flow, we can now move into our final cash tax flow per year. And as you can see, in the last year, we actually account for the selling of the apartment or the reimbursement. Now let's compare these 3 options that we have. I first want to jump into some reasons why option 1 and option 2 have a few risks that might be too much for our apartment owner. First of all, she's a working professional, she's a single mother, and all of this just adds up to being too much admin for her. These 2 options will be just so much work for her. And in the second place, they don't offer as much money and as much value as just simply putting your money in a unit trust. And so in the end, the winner is option number 3. I would just like to thank the LA Mansion in Pretoria for all the wonderful insight into Airbnb, and all of their links are down in the description. Thank you very much.